as Robin said, we're celebrating 1,000 partnerships tonight. And what it means is that we have mobilized 1,000 principals and 1,000 business partners to say yes and to commit to that deep journey of learning and growing. And of course, mobilizing people to say yes is a hard job, but it's only half of the job. And then we need to make the things happen, make the transformation happen and reach the impact. So in terms of the number, we have 266 pairs of partnerships at the moment that are currently doing the program at various stages. So we have 734 pairs that have reached the end of the year. So those are the ones that I'm going to talk about when I talk about impact. And just to give you a bit of background about what we mean at PfP when we say impact, I'm going to be a bit theoretical, but not for too long, just to give a bit of a framework of what we mean. PfP really is a 12-month program. It's quite short. There's not that much that you can achieve in just 12 months. So we see it as a catalyst, as a foundational phase of something that will grow after the 12 months are over. And we try to focus on soft skills mostly, on organizational health. You see on the slide 4 main areas that we want to strengthen. It's the school principal, obviously, and then it's the school management team, SMT. We want to help the teachers be more enthusiastic and motivated, and then work with the parents and the community. Those are the 4 key areas that we target in the program. And we think that if we do that right, then the little plant will grow into a tree. It takes time. It can take 3 to 5 years. But that is what's going to sustain the impact. So it's about continuing the engagement. It's about maintaining the relationships, deepening and extending the relationships. And if I had time, I would go beyond the tree and I would talk about the forest. I would talk about how the systemic impact grows from individual schools to a whole system of education that gets impacted. But that's going to be a conversation for another day, I'm afraid, in 2 minutes. In 10 minutes, I can't get there. Maybe we can talk afterwards if you want to find me and ask me questions. So let's get practical now, because the big question is, it's good to see it in theory, but we want to see, is it real? Does it really happen? What does the data tell us? Now, my work is to track the data to see what we really achieve from that theory. And so we look, first of all, at completion. You know, how many of the partnerships that we start finish the program. Then reaction. Are people satisfied with the offering, with the program? We look at learning. What do principals learn? What do business partners learn during the year? Behavior. What do they implement? What do they do differently as leaders? And then what impact does it have on the school long term? So it's really all the things that we track with our data to see that we do have the impact that we say we would have. It's really about accountability, and we take it seriously. So I'm going to now very quickly go through those 5 levels and give you very quick answers of what the data shows us in terms of the results we achieve. In terms of completion, as you can see on the graph, we've had very consistently very high completion rates of around, in fact, 95% on average over the last 4 years. In terms of reaction, people are very satisfied, very happy with the program. So we survey them at the end of the year, and they rate the program on a scale of 1 to 5, and the average rating is around 4.5, which is very positive. Now, where it gets interesting is the learning. What do people learn? We find that principals often come back to us to say that they've learned skills that they would never have learned, by attending the typical department trainings, skills like listening skills, thinking skills for complexity, contracting, communicating skills, etc. You'll hear more of that in your conversations later. Interestingly enough, business partners also enhance their own levels of competency, of leadership competencies. So collaborative relationships, change management, participative leadership. This is what they strengthen through the program and what they bring back into their businesses. We also see that their leadership style changes. So I'm going to go very quick here because I'm a bit worried that I will run out of time. But principals typically, as they become more confident, they are more collaborative in their leadership, they start engaging stakeholders more, and there's more hope and more possibility, and this is what starts then to radiate into the other layers of the school. So this is our ripple effect. The school management team becomes more cohesive, more aligned. The teachers are more motivated because they realize that they can contribute and they have a role to play. And in about half of our schools, we have seen some very significant change at the level of the communities and the parents getting much more involved and much more supportive of the schools. Now, you might find that half of the school is not a great school, but when you see the kind of communities that those schools are nestled in, we're actually quite proud to say that half of the schools are able to really trigger some substantial changes in the dynamics of their communities. This is actually something we're very proud of. Okay, so, and in the long run, the schools get transformed. We see them flourish. We see vegetable gardens flourish, or whatever else happens at the schools through the programs, through the action of the partners. So it's new energy, it's a shining eyes, that's our KPI. Joy of learning, that the children are curious and joyful, and in the end, we try to obviously see what difference it makes for the learners. We wouldn't be doing all that work if it weren't for the benefit of the learners in the long run. And we do think that by supporting the adults, we can impact a number of generations of learners. So we're tracking the academic results of the schools that we have operated in. And I put a little chart here. There's a whole lot of different models that we can use to measure that. But the evidence that we have so far does support the conclusion that PfP schools tend to improve their results more than comparable schools. And of course, academic results is not all. You know, we want to give the learners access to opportunities. It's exposure to businesses, to careers, it's after-school activities, opportunities to travel, to meet other people, etc. I put a picture there of a group from the heart of gangland in Cape Town, Bonteheuwel High, who managed to travel to Amsterdam at the beginning of this year. They raised the funding all by themselves, but they were given the opportunity through the connection with the business partner that was a Dutch lady. So there's the kind of opportunities they would never have got without the access to the PfP partnership. So all in all, we do think that learners benefit. The data confirms that there's a lot of benefit. And what we want in the long run is, you know, to foster the kind of environment that will grow well-balanced individuals who can live themselves out of the conditions that they grew in initially. So that's it from me. I'm sure you're going to hear much more authentic and detailed and personalized stories in the next part of the evening. Thank you for your attention.